Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today we're going to talk about obsession and the twin, and obsession specifically on this specific awakening path. And so the obsessive part of this path, you know, it happens in the beginning stages for sure, as you fall out of that bubble of stage and you basically sort of crash and fall into ego death in the dark night. It's a normal part of this path to feel that pull to the twin, you know, to feel that magnetic draw to them, to feel their energy, it's the one energy around you, right? This is part of the awakening process. It's part of coming into higher states of consciousness and releasing those lower density programs and those lower density energies. But I just want to preface this video by saying it doesn't stay there. It doesn't stay in that obsessive place, right? And so the reason I say that is because it's really important to have the wherewithal and the understanding of, if you've been going round and round and round for years on this path, being obsessed with the twin and not really making any progress, not really having energetic shifts, not really finding that self-love within you, not really finding that you're moving towards inner union, or that you're really making, you know, any headway as far as moving forward, it's really important to feel into, you may not be experiencing an awakening or a twin flame path. And I think that this is just a really important video for me to hit on. Again, I've done another video on this in the past, maybe a year ago, because this path is about shifting you into a higher state of consciousness where you're no longer running any sort of program or conditioning that would even allow or resonate or be aligned to or be a vibratory match to obsession, or any sort of obsessive state, or any sort of addictive state. And so it's really important to have the wherewithal that this path is releasing you from all of those programs, right? It's releasing you from all of that. And so it's important to see that, let me sort of gauge is, am I moving forward, right? Am I having energetic shifts? Am I having more self-love coming online? Am I actually being able to see things from a different perspective, from a higher perspective, from an inner knowing, from an intuitive knowing, right? Am I going through an awakening? All of those sort of things. The obsessive part at the beginning of this path with the twin, you know, when they sort of pull back and this whole thing sort of, you know, explodes and all of that kind of stuff, right? It's because you feel like you fell from grace. It's because you feel like you just saw yourself, your higher self, God, source, creation, all that is, in the eyes and through the voice and through the resonance and through the vibration of another, right? You recognized your same soul essence. And so when this thing pulls apart, right, and the masculine pulls away, or however your situation worked, it feels like you've been dropped. It feels like you have just been denied something that you automatically recognize, this feeling of resonance, this feeling of belonging. That is your conscious awareness recognizing itself in the twin, in the other, right? So I just want to make that really clear, because it's not the same type of obsessiveness that someone would potentially have for a karmic partnership. You know, it's sort of like that on and off, hot and cold, you know, love-hate kind of situation where it's very volatile, and then you break up, and then you get back together again, and it's really great, and then it's volatile, and then you break up, and then you get back together again, and it feels very toxic, very distorted, very dysfunctional, right? Within a twin flame dynamic, even when you have these on and offs and these push and pulls, there will still be some sort of awareness that will always be around you, that will always be coming through you, that this has a higher purpose, that there's a higher awareness here at play, that there's a higher path here at play, that there's something very different about this relationship, this connection, this dynamic than you have experienced with anyone else you have ever met, right? There will be that awakening presence always coming through you. There's going to be that knowing that you're going through an awakening path. It's going to be very, very present, which is very, very different than the feeling of always wanting to get back together with someone, not being able to ever stop thinking about someone. They're constantly on your mind, and that's all there is, right? Like the true state of obsession, of like, that's all there is. You can never stop thinking about them. And at the same time within that, there's no actual growth. So all the focus is on this person, right? So hopefully I'm making sense. Because in a twin flame dynamic, are you going to wake up thinking about them? Yes, you are. Are they going to be on your mind a lot? Yes, they are. Is it going to drive you crazy? Yes, it is. But within that, you'll also feel that you're going through an awakening. You'll see it, right? You'll know it. It's going to be a natural energetic process that's just feeding through you. Even if the mind is going, this is crazy, I'm doubting this, I don't know what the hell's happening, what's going on with me, my whole, reality is starting to shift, things are starting to look different, things are starting to feel different, what the hell is going on? All of that is not the same as just feeling like you're obsessed with someone that's been going round and round and round for however long, may it be years, may it be decades, and this situation is never shifting, it's never changing, your life is never really shifting or changing, you're not having that inner growth, you're not having that inner love come on, you're not having these physical changes going on in your life that even if they feel disruptive, on some level, it's just the way. It's just the path forward, right? There's always going to be this underlying awareness when you're on a true twin flame awakening path that this is for a higher purpose, that you're being guided, that something else is going on, that even if you don't understand, you can feel it, right? You can feel the guidance coming through you. It's going to come through in lots of different ways for lots of different people. So hopefully I'm making myself clear about the distinctions between these two things. Because if you're always just going round and round and the focus is just constantly on this person and you're just wanting to get them back, trying to manifest them back, trying to figure out all these things, you're constantly thinking like they're an avoidant or they have anxious attachment, and if they would just fix all of these things and all of those sort of things, then it would work and all of those sort of stuff, and it never actually shifts and you never actually shift, then that's not a twin flame dynamic. The twin flame has that stuff built in, but it fades, it releases, because your programs release, because you're awakening, right? And so bit by bit, if you find that you're not shifting, that you're not actually feeling lighter, that you're not actually feeling like you're getting better, that you're becoming a better version of yourself, that you're actually being able to see through things, that you're actually being able to see these massive arcs between who you were when you met this person compared to who you are now, and the awareness of where you're going, right? If all of that isn't happening, then you're probably dealing with a karmic partnership, because awakening is very, very specific, right? You can't really wonder if it's happening or not. It's very in your face. It's very, very there. And the obsessive aspect of this within a twin flame dynamic, it's not just some ongoing thing that happens for months and months and years, right? There'll be curiosity, there'll be wonderment, there'll be doubt. All of those things are built in, but that's part of the ego death, right? That's part of the disillusion and the letting go of the program. And you'll feel that you're consistently leveling up. You will feel this, that you are leveling up. Whereas a normal obsessive type of situation will feel like you're always in the same place. Things are never really moving forward. You're still running the same programs. Your thought systems are still the same. Nothing ever really changes or shifts because there's no actual awakening going on. And when I say this, it's not a hierarchy thing. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just allowing people to have the wherewithal to know a little bit deeper of when we're talking about the obsessive part of a twin flame dynamic. It doesn't mean that, okay, I'm obsessed with this person, and so that means it's one of the signs and whatever that I'm going through a twin flame, situation. I've met a twin. The awakening is the sign that you've met the twin. The up level, the ego death, the dark night, the energetic shifts, the inner feeling of love, the feeling of complete, inner union at some point when you get to that. That is how you know that you're on this path, among a few other things. But the lack of shifts, the lack of awakening, the lack of higher awareness and all of that would mean that you're not experiencing this path. And I think it's a really, really important thing to discern, because if you're not experiencing this path, it's like, hallelujah, because most of the people who are on this path, I can promise you, I've said in a lot of videos, if they would have known that this is what it was going to be like before they came into this incarnation, at least through the ego, they probably wouldn't have chose it. This isn't like an easy thing to do. And so it isn't like a fantasy, romantic, rainbows and butterflies sort of thing, as a lot of times it's sort of being touted to be through, some areas in online and all of that sort of stuff. This is an ascension process, and the ascension is built in, is very specific, like I've said lots of times. It's very specific in its aim. And it's a full-blown upgrade of your entire system in every single capacity. It's a full-grown upgrade. And that means releasing a lot of things. It means going through the dark night, the whole thing, right? So hopefully that makes sense, you guys. And that's all I have for you today. Love you all. Have an awesome day.